The release of the Black Bay 54 came as a surprise to many. It was a watch you didn't know you wanted. In this video, I'm going to take a deeper look at the Black Bay 54 and see if the size is too small, and how it compares to the Black Bay 58, which I have owned previously. To those of you who have been a long-time follower of the channel, you probably noticed that I have been away from YouTube for quite a while now. And on top of that, I've also changed the channel name. And it was a decision I made to better reflect the content on the channel. But now let's get into the review. In front of me I have the Tudor Black Bay 54. A new addition to the Black Bay lineup that pays homage to the Tudor's first die watch, the reference 7922, from, you guessed it, 1954. This watch is a modern reinterpretation of a classic design, with a 37mm case, deep black dial and a clean bezel insert. The last time I was this excited for the watch was probably with the release of the original Black Bay 58. And for me, Tudor with the Black Bay lineup in general offers what is perhaps the best value proposition on the market today, at least when it comes to more expensive watches. But let's dive into the details and see what makes this specific watch so special. And we can go through some specifications first. The case diameter is 37mm in diameter. The case thickness is 11.24mm. It got a lug width of 20mm, a lug-to-lug length of about 46mm, a sapphire crystal which is domed. It got the automatic manufacturer caliber MT 5400. And of course it is COSC certified. And it got 70 hours of power reserve, silicone balance spring, and hacking and hand winding. It is water resistant down to 200 meters, and it comes on a stainless steel bracelet, which I have. And the price of this watch with the bracelet is $3,900. Perhaps the first thing that comes to mind when talking about the Black Bay 54 is the size. And the size of 37mm is arguably the most controversial part about this watch. But for me, this is perhaps the best part about it, as the proportions have changed, and in my opinion, for the better. The bezel insert is thicker relative to the dial compared to the Black Bay 58, and the case looks a bit more square, thanks to the 47mm lug-to-lug, which is very similar dimensions to the Black Bay 58. The size is actually very true to the original 7922, which was also 37mm. The crown is of course screwed down with the Tudor Rose logo engraved on it. And the new smaller crown is, in my opinion, more proportional to the case. The case has a nice balance between elegance and sportiness, and it feels very solid and well made, as with all Tudors. And at 11.24mm in thickness, the watch wears incredibly thin for being a die watch with 200 meters of water resistance. But in general, the actual perceived size difference on the wrist between the Black Bay 58 and the Black Bay 54 is actually surprisingly minor. The biggest difference is actually in its looks, thanks to the different proportions, as the bezel feels a bit thicker. And having owned both watches, the Black Bay 54 doesn't actually feel smaller, it just feels a bit different compared to the Black Bay 58. And perhaps a bit more refined as well. The dial is black with a slight radial brushing that gives it some texture and depth. The hour markers are applied with a gilt effect that contrasts nicely with the dial. The hands are also gilt. The second hand has a lollipop tip, and that's another nod to the vintage styling. And of course, it's one of the most attractive features about the Black Bay 54, as it has a lot of character and charm. The dial is a perfect example of how Tudor respects its heritage while also adding some modern touches. And this is surprisingly the biggest difference compared to the Black Bay 58, except for the size. The Black Bay 58 has a matte textured dial, while the Black Bay 54 has a deeper black dial with a slight sunburst effect. This of course comes down to personal preference, but this works very well together with the gilt indices and hands. And the Black Bay 58 could in some lighting conditions look a bit bland, which is not the case for the Black Bay 54. The bezel is unidirectional with 70 clicks and has a matte black insert. The bezel has no markings between 12 and 2, no red triangle and no gold markings. This is a very minimalist and elegant design that also reflects the early days of diving. The silver color instead of the gold is a personal preference, but a detail I much prefer. I was never a big fan of the gold markings on the Black Bay 58, but I do miss the red triangle a bit. For me, the cleaner insert with the silver markings on the Black Bay 54 gives a bit of contrast with the deep black dial and the gilt markings, which is something I really like. The bezel edge also has a new pattern with a more refined look than the previous Black Bay models. The bezel is of course very smooth and easy to operate and has a satisfying click. The movement is a manufacturer caliber MT5400 and of course it's made by Kinesi. And Tudor owns Kinesi, so it's a in-house movement. And the movement has a frequency of 28,800 vibrations per hour, a power reserve of approximately 70 hours, and is COSC certified with a silicon balance spring, which makes it more resistant to shocks and magnetic fields. And of course the movement also have hacking and hand winding. The movement is definitely one of the main selling points of the Black Bay 54, as it is a high quality and reliable movement made in-house by Tudor. It's also very accurate with a daily variation of -2 to +4 seconds, which is actually better than the COSC standard of -4 to +6 seconds. The movement is definitely a testament to Tudor's innovation and expertise, and it gives the Black Bay 54 a lot of value and credibility. The difference between the MT5400 found in the 54 compared to the 5402 found in the 58 range is that the MT5400 in the 54 got a larger base plate with a more pleasing look, but other than that they are identical. The Black Bay 54 comes with the new T-fit clasp, which is of course a big upgrade from the previous clasp found on the Black Bay 58. Other than the clasp, the bracelets are very similar and they both have the fake rivets. Now with the new T-fit clasp, the bracelet is definitely one of the best on the market and without a doubt in this price range. The Black Bay 54 is a watch that combines the best of both worlds, the vintage charm and the modern performance. It is a tribute to Tudor's heritage and a statement of their innovation. It is a watch that is elegant and sporty, simple and sophisticated. It is the watch you didn't know you wanted. If you're deciding between the Black Bay 54 and the Black Bay 58, I would definitely go for the 54 as it fixes all of my gripes with the Black 58. The 54 doesn't wear that much smaller and it's more refined with a deep black dial, great proportions, slim case and T-fit clasp. With that said, if you're looking for a blue diver, it's hard to beat the blue Black Bay 58. That watch is still one of my favorite modern divers. And perhaps it sounds like I'm bashing the original BB58, but that's not the case. That watch is still a fantastic diver and perhaps one of the greatest releases of the last 2 decades. The Black Bay 54 is just a bit better in my opinion. Thank you for watching this video and let me know which Black Bay you prefer.